What kind of arrows are you shooting right now?
Right now, so my buddy owns a company out of Canada called Killing Sticks. And I've been shooting his stuff and helping him grow that brand for probably 6 years now. I've never had any issues with them. It's not like a big name company by any means, but quality arrows. I mean, I've shot them, like I said, for that long and killed a lot of stuff with them, and they're consistent. And yeah, just helping him. I just started working with UltraView, and they came out with their new stuff, and I want to try some of those. I need to hit them up to see if I can get a few just to kind of fling and test them out. But everyone I've talked to said they're pretty quality stuff. So
UltraView
but
makes a good product, man. Like
yeah,
they don't make
I
bullshit. So
their site and the release, I love them. Like
I've
it's
been looking at that site for a long time and haven't pulled the trigger on it because I don't know enough people that shoot it to know, because it's expensive. It's an expensive
yeah.
site, so I don't know enough guys that actually shoot that site.
So
You like it?
I was buying hot spot hogs for a long time, and I'm a single ping guy. I usually single with a double dot. Uh, but one of the things that it kind of bummed me out with spot hog is a lot of the slop in it. There was a lot of
Ton of slop, dude. That's
Yeah,
what
I
make
don't
it
like
is.
that.
I don't like that either, and it's fucked me. It fucked me twice.
Really.
All that slop, all that moving around. There's all these levers and shit going on.
Ultra View, everything is like tight, very like compact. Quality, like the movements of it are they're easy enough to use, but there's some resistance. You know what I mean? It's not just like sloppy flopping around. And they're easy to side in, but I have nothing but good things to say about that. So I've tried to switch all my buddies over to them. Like, dude, if you have the money, it's worth it. It's something you're gonna use for a long time. Like it's quality stuff. So
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. I might maybe I'll toss that on that
what's
PSE.
cool too is they make it to where you can pull, like if you have a single pin, you can also buy one of their multi pins, the housing on it, and the housing rolls down to the bottom, and there's a lever, and you could just pop that whole housing off. So say you already have that sighted in with that tape, and you're going to Africa, and you need to bump it up to 80 pounds, and you just take that housing off, and there you can adjust and put a new housing on. It just basically pops right back on there. That's sighted in at 80 pounds. So you can have multiple setups with one sight, if that makes sense.
I wonder if here's a question for you. Can you set it up? Can you set it up for like target shooting with your field tips and then set it up for like a broadhead? Can you have a different because that's where I always just pull 80 pounds. I just keep it at 80. I don't ever drop the weight on it. Because it's pulling 80 pounds is fucking easy for a guy my size, so it's not I don't have to struggle with it. If I did struggle with 80 pounds, I wouldn't shoot that. I'm not like an ego guy. Like it's just too easy for me to pull back. You don't need more than it takes 40 pounds to fucking penetrate, like
Yeah,
that's,
especially with your draw length, dude. Your kinetic energy is probably insane.
yeah, it's
You probably
wild.
get accurate on everything at like, even if you hit it at 80, it probably blows through it.
Well, that's the problem with these foam targets is I'll blow through like a block target and it'll be sticking in a fucking tree when I'm tuning my broadheads, at like 60 yards. And it's just like, oh shit, because it is, man. It's a lot of energy going out of there. And I shoot a 400 grain arrow. So it's, it's just, it's that's the other hard part is finding like the right broadhead that can handle that kinetic energy. Right. Because a lot of those broadheads, like sometimes they hit and they just fucking bend. And they're just not made right. They're not made for that kind of energy to be going through shit. But there's a ton of good broadheads out there that, I use Severs, I use Iron Wills, I use Vantage Point. Like they make good ones. Like there's all Beast Bomar's broadhead is a good fucking broadhead.
Dude, I use those all year this year. I killed everything with those things. I killed
those Beast broadheads.
Yeah.
Oh, they're great.
I was never really a fan of the mechanicals. That had some mishaps with them hunting, stuff that wasn't favorable. But I ended up trying those. I was watching Josh talk about how freaking sharp they are, and I like that bone avoiding technology. And I think I have a short draw, like a 26-inch draw. So I usually don't get pass throughs if it's a big cutting diameter. So I was shooting really small fixed blades just to get most of the weight penetration or all the way through. Especially on elk, it would be like, hit the other side and just stop type thing. But dude, those beasts, I did a blow through on a wild pig at like 50. I was like, holy shit, that has never happened to me. complete pass through on my Oregon elk. It was only 30 yards, but even still, I've shot like the rages. I remember shooting a bull off at 20 yards and it just buried to the fletchings and, didn't even stick out the opposite side. I'm like, dang, dude. Um, but yeah, pass through on that bull. I hit my Utah bull in the shoulder and it blew through the shoulder and killed it. And then I killed that a mule deer in Colorado, smoked it, and then that whitetail in Kansas passed through at 40. And so
Yeah, those things are when you talk about the penetration trying to get pass throughs, that happens with the sever. I shot an elk at perfectly broadside at like 42 yards and
sure,
could not believe that the arrow didn't. I mean, it was right behind the shoulder, like should have passed right through him, and it didn't go through him.
dang
And
it.
I was like, what the fuck? That's crazy. It should have went right through him. And it didn't. And I was with a sever. I've never had, that was the only, it still killed the bull. Like he still, I got
Yeah.
a ton of penetration, but I still would rather see that arrow go straight. Like if I'm hitting just all soft vitals, it should go straight through anything that I'm shooting at.
Yeah.
So I had no problem with that, but you're right, man. Like the mechanicals are sketchy, but that beast broadhead, it doesn't shoot like a mechanical.
It
It
doesn't.
it shoots like a fixed blade, and you don't have to tune for it.
Nope.
That's the other great part.
Doesn't change anything. Yeah. I decided in for fill points and they come with a practice tip and obviously was testing that out before the hunts. And I'm like, I'm not changing anything. It's money. And what's great is like, so that point, it's spring loaded just for people that don't know. But like, say you have the ribs that are separated like that. When it hits and goes through, it compresses down to go through the ribs and then opens back up once it gets through. Like that is freaking genius. I love that.
It's crazy that no one has come up with that idea yet. And then Josh is crazy. I shoot his nose button too
Yeah, nice.
because I love that anchor point. Like I
Oh,
love
come
having
on.
that anchor point.
I had a buddy who was telling me, he's like, you got to be careful. I shot it once on one of my setups and I enjoyed it. I don't know why I just haven't put it back on, but he's like, it made me bleed. He's like, I was shooting and I put too much nose pressure on it. And I didn't realize that my nose was dripping. When I would shoot, it splattered blood on my sight. I was looking like, what the hell is that? He's like, didn't realize it goes like this and his nose was bleeding. But that's what it's supposed to do. Like you're not supposed to put too much pressure on it,
Yeah, it's supposed to, and it's pointy, so you just like feel that point, and that gives you that anchor point. The thing you have to be careful with that nose button is bringing your head to it though,
Yeah.
because I'll pull back and then I'll bring my nose to it sometimes instead of bringing it to my nose. And I've noticed that I'm like, damn, why am I shooting so far left right now? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on here? And it's because I'm not anchoring right. And it could be just because I tweaked my shoulder or something that day, and
Oh yeah.
I'm just not pulling all the way back. I'm just, because even at 33, I still have to keep some bend in my elbow to like get the bow back to where I need it, without having to like come forward on it. It's just such a repetition. It's like golf where you have to have your swing has to be the same every time. And then I think enough people don't practice from like the situations you're going to be like, because I'm so tall, I got to be down on my knees a lot when I'm out there. So like I can't just be standing up. Like any animal sees something that's 6'6", just standing there. I don't care how much camo you have on. Like they're gonna be fucking spooked out from that. So
I can't imagine you up in a tree standing. Holy shit.
I use a tree saddle a lot too. I hunt from a tree saddle a lot because
You?
yeah.
Oh, dude, that's sketchy.
Well, it's so sketchy. It's so sketchy, but I feel safer in that than I do on like a lock on because especially if I'm going to like somebody else's spot and I haven't got to set it myself, because I just don't trust it, man. Like these things are rated for 300 pounds, right? Like we're pushing the limit here, right? And I will say that like when you use a lineman's rope to go up and set your sticks, and then you're always tethered to the tree. So that's like, and those tethers are rated for like 1,600 pounds or something like that. So like, I'm not worried. That's where I do feel safe. Like you can hang upside down in that saddle. Seriously. I've done it. You can just hang upside down. And then like I had a deer, I hunted one time in January in Ohio it was like when I first started hunting out of them, and it was in January. So it was like crazy wind. It was like 30-mile-an-hour winds. And and I was up in that tree and I was just swaying all over the place. And I felt way safer than I would have been in like a lock on, honestly. The only thing I don't like about saddle hunting is that it's hard to shoot. It's hard to shoot consistent out of it because you have to
Yeah.
practice that. Because think about it, it's way different than standing straight up on a and then leaning down. You're like you have to like cam into that saddle, so you have to cam into it. It's just a whole different setup. And I've missed deer. I missed shot like two of the biggest deer I've ever had an opportunity to shoot because of that damn saddle. Because I just
Damn
didn't
it.
practice out of it enough, and I brisket shot a buck and then I shot another buck just a little too high and hit him in no man's land at like 20 yards. Like I should have, it should have been a smoked, like he should have been done. And I was just like, what the fuck happened? And we went and watched the film and it's like, yep, I hit him high, like hit him high. And then I hit the other one high and forward. And it was just like, yep, same thing. I'm shooting high and forward when I'm in that thing. So in the moment you forget to adjust for that, and then it'll get you. And you got to practice those angles. I think people need to practice more from like their knees, practice from like standing on something that's like, even if you just go out in your backyard and you're shooting, you just make it so that like your left foot is like up higher than your right foot, or your right foot's up
Yeah.
higher than your left foot. Like just change the angles so that when you get out there and you're in that situation, you can adjust to that. Cause unfortunately bow hunters wound more animals than anybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're out there just slinging arrows all the time, and it just, we're wounding animals, and unfortunately, you get a lot of gut shots, and that animal just, you never find them. They take 2 weeks to die, and it's just, you got to do everything you can ethically to make sure you're making good shots.
Oh yeah.